Hello friends, welcome. I'm Herbalist and today we are going to be making another video about Tlatoani. This time we are going to be playing the same scenario as last time, which is Xochimilco, and we are going to go into mid and possibly late game, and I'm gonna try to explain and show how to design some of the more advanced services as well as features and what to use in order to expand the city and how to plan it. Something about the last video. So I'm in contact with the developer of the game, which is PerspectiveGames, and I've been told that there have been some things that I've done last time which were not exactly right, and I did correct myself when I was setting up that training post. I thought it would collect timber from the sawyers, you remember that, and it didn't. So we got an answer for that. So let's go ahead and read that. So most deliveries can operate on both push and pull basis. For example, sawyers will both deliver timber to a trading post, and the trading post will fetch timber from the sawyers, assuming it's set to get or accept timber. The trading post didn't fetch timber in this case because no trade equivalent is equivalent to no order. So it just couldn't, it's not accepting. If it's no trade, it just means they won't really even accept it, right? It's probably worth opening trade route with Tlatoani or Leon for the sake of cheaper food imports. They have a pottery as well. Yep, that's something we could have done. But generally, I think PerspectiveGames told me that he usually goes into debt when he plays this scenario. So we actually did well. We didn't have any debt at all. If you play yourself and you go into debt a little bit, don't worry about it. It's really not a huge deal, and mostly it matters only for, you will get probably a little bit slower of development, but you should arrive at the same conclusion even if you are a little less efficient than what I did, but it should still work out for you. You could also spec into cotton early on and not go with the pottery. For me, it felt like pottery was good because we had timber and clay relatively easily accessible, but it can be a problem if you need to, if it's far away from each other, right? Because we explained how distance to work is a big factor. Someone commented on the video as well that I overbuild services and I have 2 markets. Yes, each market can service up to 4,000 people. The thing is, very big factor in this game is worker inefficiency due to distance. And so being able to have another block closer to something like the stone actually makes the quarries produce more often, and it's important. So yes, the capacity is not completely filled on something like the market, but it doesn't matter. Same as the alcove. If you build one central one, it will get crowded, so you will want to build multiple. This is not Caesar. You don't do 22 by 6 and one set of services, because the one set of services would effectively get crowded. If this was in Augustus, I would not like it, because you would be punished for building efficient blocks. In this game, you don't do blocks. You don't have enclosed loops. So walker coverage does not matter quite as much. It matters about capacity. What is the service capable of handling in terms of how many people it can provide service to, and that is hard capped by the service itself. So don't worry about it, just build multiple of them. And it is jobs as well. Jobs help your economy and it brings you more people into the city, which you need. You will actually have a problem to get all those people into the city, as we need 8,000 population in this scenario in particular, right? So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and just load the save and see where we left off. Okay, so here we are back into our city, and we see we've got 1290 population out of the 8,000. We've managed to get pretty good evolutions with some cottages, and we are waiting on some priests to start working in the shrines. We did have a fire which burned down our kilns at some point, so that's still resolving itself. We've built some nobles, which they do demand cloth right now from the market, and we are not able to provide it just yet. But what we can do is actually start working on that. So let's go ahead and click this, go through Empire, and let's check who could sell us Magwe. Let's check. We already trade with Chalco, and Chalco does buy pottery from us. It would buy some cotton. Fruit, furniture, we should not be selling, I don't think. Cotton is a really good price. and it can sell mug with 10 units. That's not a lot, but it would certainly help. So let's take a look. Where is our Chalco trade center? It's here. Let's go ahead and accept some mugway. Go ahead and import 12 units. Every single bit we can is good. And let's go ahead and get ourselves some cloth weaver. Mugway is, think of it like, if, you know, for European understanding, you would have crops like flax. So mugway can be used like flax to make cloth out of it, but it can also be used as hops, basically to brew some sort of beverage, which is pulque. Okay, so it's sort of a versatile crop, but we cannot grow it on this climate, on this map, right? So that's why we need to import it. We need to start doing that. It's gonna cut into our money, so eventually we would really like to get ourselves some of that cotton industry, but there's still time. Let's go ahead and get 2 cloth weavers over here. I'll probably put industry here later and just kind of keep it as is. And so we've placed that. We'll be importing. Now we need to decide where do we accept the pulque, or sorry, the cloth, right? Because these nobles will want it. This market does reach some of them. We could easily just accept some in here, I think. No, we would have to set up a new warehouse. We do have this one in here, and the easiest way is to reduce the timber a little bit and accept some cloth, and then we could get it with another. Yeah, that one will have access to this, and then this marketplace needs this, so let's go ahead and take a look. We still have space, so let's go ahead and get ourselves some cloth. So that we'll be getting. As for the religion, we'll just have to give it time, see what happens. And I would like to use this trading post. We use that for Tenochtitlan. We no longer really import maize, I don't think. So redefining this thing to be trading with someone else and doing cloth might be, or cotton could be good. So we should probably focus on that. But first, let's wait until this project we just done gets a little bit further along. I could also get one more kiln at least for this, and since we saw that fire last time, I really don't want that to happen again. And this is gonna be an extra service, but it's like a prefect in Caesar. You do need them, otherwise the fire spreads and it causes much more damage than it would normally do. And so what I will do here is I will add another well dipper over here. So we have constructed a lot of our buildings and we are lacking employees. That is natural and fine. We will get more employees soon enough. Just need time really, and we should double check our city mood just in case something's wrong with that. People are indifferent, which is not great. Let's go ahead and take a look. We could potentially decrease taxes a little bit if our money allows for it. Looks like we did have a more of an expense this year. It's probably due to the imports, so not super stoked about that. Gods are content now because they do have a shrine for each, and that is very important. We could also go with a festival, possibly to raise the city mood, but I'd rather not do that. What we could do is either raise wages across the board. We do already pay decent wages and then more for people who are important to society. But I'm really reluctant to raise wages for the majority of the populace. We also do have a lot of kids in our city. I think if we give it time, it's gonna be okay and people will immigrate. For now, you see that we have people that could live in this house. There's only 1 out of 4 elites, which is nobles, and 0 out of 4 here. So that's something that we need to be careful about. What I noticed as well is we do have a collector here, which collects taxes from a lot of our industry, and that is very good. But we also would like to do the same here on this side. So another collector would actually help us to collect more taxes from this area in general. Let's go ahead and take it. And we'll have to consider if we add something like Telpocale, which I believe that we might need. Yes. So let's go ahead and also add this over here. It depends how do we want it to look like. It would probably be good if it services some of these nobles as well, because this one likely does not really cover that. It depends how we want this. I think this is a decent spot. It does not cover the whole area though. So if we have a road here, which we do want, we could actually do something with that. So let's go ahead and add a road and see how this would affect the pathing. Tlatoani. And it's much better. Just need to decide where exactly do we want to place this. I believe something like this would be okay. Reason being, we want to keep some spaces for obvious reasons. We might want some gardens. We also probably will do water on this map, even though it's not necessary. I did promise that I will plan for it, so I kind of did, and we will probably want to capitalize on it. Now, we are not swimming in money just yet, but we have decent amount to a point where we could consider perhaps adding some of these gardens already, because we will need herbs for having herbalists and such. So let's add a gardener, and such as with a farm, you see the tiles he can service actually displayed, right? So you want him to actually have tiles to work, because that's important, and it makes him be able to give you some herbs. And also it provides desirability. So houses do like when they have herb patches nearby. We'll add it here. Also, they are walkable. The walker will be able to go through the gardens to harvest herbs from every single tile. But whenever we have like a blind spot, let's add a stela. It is good. It's like more of a fancy decoration, you could say. And now we also want to add a couple more of these herb patches. I just need to figure out where do I want this, and I think here would be okay. I do really care about this, because we do want this to produce enough herbs to give us something of value to the city, not just decorations, right? And this secondary block, it's still kind of low. It's not populated much, so we can go ahead and wait until we do this for a little while. So let's go ahead and see if the population problem resolves itself with the workers. And as suspected, we have another fire, but we did build another developer adjacent. We do have something like 4 in total in our city, so potentially we could see the firefighting effort being a little more efficient, hopefully, so we don't lose all the kilns anymore. We will see. There's a lot of people currently trying to extinguish the fire, but it is 5 buildings which constantly spread fire to each other, so it is a little bit annoying. Reminds me a bit of Stronghold and how the fire works in that game, where if you have fires on the map, they are the least favorite event, and you have to design your city specifically with that in mind in Stronghold to prevent it. We did manage to catch it. Looks like we suffered some damage, but it's been extinguished without losing any buildings completely, and that's good. Something else I noticed is now we have population solved. No longer do we need so many workers, which is nice for us. Money did fall a little bit. We do have some cloth weavers active now, because I think our money went down because of the imports. And so next up, we should focus on getting more industry for profit. That's gonna be designing an area here for growing cotton. So let's go ahead and go with some farming sheds. We want to preserve the area such as we have over here for cotton. So let's go ahead and add 1, and we will go probably with 2. So let's make sure we add canal as well. Add another shed. Make another canal. There you go. And cotton. We could put fruit in here, as again, the farms, they they grow more efficiently if you have different kind of crops, and so this could very well be a viable option. Now I need to double check if this is within reason. 4 tiles in the back, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's one extra tile than we could really support. So let's go ahead and cut down this. Looks like we will have to actually make the canal look a little bit different here, which is fine. It's just not going to be very pretty, but this is how it should be. So let's go ahead and do this. Again, don't be afraid to redesign something if it doesn't fit. Even rip down things or allocate them. That's why you have the button and the option in game, because it's, you know, very common to not be able to do something on the first attempt, especially if you're not like super familiar with the game. Making mistakes is completely natural, and there are ways to deal with everything. Let's go ahead and put down a road like this. This will now become a trading station for something else. We will be trading with, we could do Chalco from this, but even better than that, we could go ahead into our empire map, and there is some other city, Tlatoani, would buy cotton and pork. So 10 cotton is pretty good. It costs 1600 to open, which is a lot of money, but it's gonna pay off in the long term. So let's go ahead and designate this for Tlatoani, and we will be accepting cotton, 12 units for export. And we want to, so you grow cotton on the farm tiles, right? But that's cotton buds, and now you need to process it in a cotton weaver workshop, and so we need to build at least a couple of these. I would say like two per farm is probably good. I don't have data to back it up, but I think that's what you should be having. So we'll add 4, and we'll see if that adds up. And this is going to provide jobs to our area here, because we certainly do have extra space in these houses. Okay, I noticed something. So this collector here, it has minimal use for service right now. It does cover a lot of this, but I don't think this pays taxes. Workshops do, I think, and houses, of course. So we might actually want to put this elsewhere a little bit, just so it covers these workshops as well. So let's go ahead and relocate this venue. And it does need to be in a place where ambience is good, and that is desirability. The collector does want to be built where you have at least some desirability for it. And this would cover basically everything, so let's go ahead and relocate it near the nobles. And I will also probably build a little bit of a stone road here, just to provide extra desirability. While we are at that, also money doesn't look great because we've opened that expensive trade route, and growing this cotton will take a while to kick in. As you know, it needs a whole cycle of harvest to actually get anything out of it for these workshops to process. But we have time, and hopefully we won't go bankrupt in the meantime due to our potato exports and taxes. And we see that these houses, the medium cottages, demand they want security, so they want a sentry post. It's a 1x1 structure. The only issue with this thing, usually like with this gardener, no one wants to work there, so we'll have to do something with that. But let's go ahead and place this service somewhere. I need to decide where. This would be okay at the start. We'll probably want to add a second one later because it's gonna get overwhelmed anyway. And this one over here, add one in advance anyway. And that should hopefully help our city. Now, before we go on, let's go ahead and also check if we've got payments for these workers. Government and defense. That's actually collectors and such. I could increase the wages on this, but I don't think it's super important. It is vital though, like more than farming and industry, this needs to be staffed pretty much all the time. So I might pay more because of it. On the upside though, we did recover city mood slightly. And so I might consider increasing our tax a little bit. I'm not sure about the business tax. We are currently not getting any business tax. I don't think there's a tooltip for this thing, so I'm not sure what that will do exactly. We'll see what happens with our money. Our financial situation is looking a little bit better, but yeah, so we see that the cotton is still growing, and so they will still take a little while. But it looks like we even got a little bit ready over here. So we are starting to see this industry kick in. Money is still not tremendously great. These cottages now want us to build a sauna, herbalist or dentist. So more healthcare is what they require. And we can certainly provide that. We also do have a gardener over here, and he is tending to all these crops. So I do not see him having any herbs yet, but that's certainly going to be something that's gonna happen. As for our shrines, it looks like they are currently staffed, and I don't think they are using nobles for priests. No, so it is commoners. It's just people didn't want to work there for a long while, even if we did set wages to be extra. So in any case, we are still a long way from our goals. So let's go ahead and deal with this request for healthcare. Since I know I will be going with a reservoir around here, I want to keep, let's check how wide it is. I think it's 3 tiles. I could be wrong though. I haven't built one in a long while. Let's go ahead and take a look. So cistern, it is in fact 3 tiles. Okay. So we want to go ahead and build ourselves a sauna, because sauna can be upgraded to a steam bath, I think, once it gets access to plumbing from a reservoir. So let's go ahead and put this down. It can benefit from getting herbs from the gardener, and it does provide diversion as well as healthcare, so entertainment and healthcare. Pretty good building overall. And we would want to do the same here, but we see that we will only have 2 tiles left in here, and that would be pretty bad. So we could do it this way, I suppose. But question with this in particular is going to be, how do we get the water to it? I could do it through here. There's a 1x1 gap. We could then relocate this garrison somewhere else, and that could work like that. Yeah, well, let's go ahead and build this over here. And we also want to probably go ahead and now add this gardener, so we harvest some herbs. Let's add him here, so we can access a lot of this. So that's gonna be 12. We could go with the Stella, but if we can get nearby herbs, we should do that, as we also care about the output for these. So let's go ahead and get that going. Now our money is a lot better than it was. Let's go ahead and add another cloth weaver. So I want at least 1, preferably 2 extra workshops for processing the mugway, and I also want brewers. Make ourselves some pork, because that's used for religion, and nobles also will require it, I think. So let's go ahead and expand this area. And we need to set up something like this over here to accept less clay and also accept some pork. And from there we also get it over here. If we have the slots, we do. Let's get some pork. And I would actually like another farm shed for cotton. This is getting a little bit too far for walking though. So if anything, I would actually go ahead and build a road over here to be able to still benefit from this. Let's go ahead and design this. So we want it like this, so that we can go ahead and add a road. And this will still be able to access those workshops. And let's go ahead and add a couple more cotton weavers. I would actually like to put a couple here, because then it could actually deliver accepting goods. This warehouse could potentially do it. Well, it's a little bit far, because this Chalco can actually also buy cotton from me. I just don't have an easy way to get it there, which is fine, I guess. So let's go ahead and add these 2 workshops. And we will be, of course, adding our fruit trees. If this makes sense, that is, because does this reach the granary? It does not, but the granary can collect from it, so that's still okay. Let's go ahead and add this cotton, and we need to absolutely ensure that food is stable, and so it will actually be beneficial for us to go ahead and get ourselves another farm shed over here, which is going to be dealing with food. So let's go ahead and give it maize. And we can also give it some fruit trees. We could potentially go with some chilies, but I do like to focus on the basic food, which is the maize and fruits, more than anything else. So it is really beneficial if you can stabilize that. And I noticed I done mistake with a tile, so I'm gonna redo that area from scratch. There we go. And now we also want to add a porter stop, which is going to handle accepting all this food, because it is getting a little bit far. We could also go with a granary, I suppose. It would not hurt since there's a market. Anyway. So let's go ahead and build ourselves a granary. And we'll put this thing over here. And this thing's gonna accept 20 maize and 20 fruits. Could also accept meat, just in case we have an overflow, but I don't think it's gonna happen. So that should help these two get access to delivering resources. And also let's go ahead and set up a road so we can actually connect it to back here. This is vital for logistical reasons, right? So as we talked about before, you really do want this to be like that. So let's go ahead and do another road here as well. It's not going to be super pretty, but it will connect to the whole city, and it's important to offer ways to get around. So now we have done that. We could also go ahead and set this to get instead of accept, but we'll see how this handles the influx. If it's full, we might have to do that later. Another small detail, we'll be adding pottery to be getting in this porter yard in here, because this block does not have currently access to any pottery, and it is going to overload this a little bit because we currently accept stone, we accept timber in here, and we are getting all sorts of goods for the market use. So eventually we might have to build another porter yard for this area. And a correction, the sauna does not use herbs, it uses timber, so make sure you have timber, because it like heats up the water, right? So it creates steam from that. So it uses timber, but houses also use timber, so oftentimes you will have access to that immediately anyway. So just keep in mind that that wants timber somewhere nearby, so it can access that. And also herbalists will use herbs from the gardens themselves to then use to heal people. And we are still being notified that disease is indeed a significant problem. And so I will be building a herbalist for these two blocks over here. And I've noticed that this is strange service use. This is completely overburdened with workload. And so yes, it is a very good place and it covers most of the areas. Great. It does not cover this top though, and it's already overloaded. So we want another sentry post. It's just this game works in this way. It's not like in Caesar, as I mentioned before. You do really want to have multiple kinds of services, and even if you are able to build very efficient ones, oftentimes it's not actually great because you will need multiple for reasons of the service capacity, right? So let's go ahead and add another center post here, and that will hopefully provide a lot. And we see that these people now demand a barracks, yes. So not only do the youth get educated in the Tlatoani in military education, but you also do need barracks for adults to train in at some stage if you want to advance past large cottages. And we do want that for the main reasons of prosperity and also population, right? So we do want to build a barracks. Let's go ahead and do our military. You do not need your barracks to actually have weapons and armor if you just use them for training, right? Because normally you would have to then manufacture weapons and armor, and that can be very costly. So we don't have to do that. All we have to do is ensure that the barracks covers the population, and this would actually cover the whole city as it is right now. And so good central location for this thing. It has very long range, so let's build it. And it also has a capacity, and you could see this thing being overcrowded later as well. And our city suffered flooding, but keep in mind that even if your god satisfaction is in fact completely adequate, it still can happen. I've seen it happen before. You see, all the gods are happy. It's not like we are insulting them, but it can still happen as a natural disaster. So we could see floods cause some damage and destroy some buildings. Usually it's not like huge deal, like in Children of the Nile it could like demolish 70% of your city. I don't think that's really what's gonna happen here. It can just be a little annoyance to deal with. And so something else, yes, this barracks now employs captains, which are nobles, and so finally nobles have a use. They do require a center post, and they want me to build, they need pottery, which pottery is currently not not in this warehouse. So we might want to add more kilns. This is actually full. I'm not sure what the issue there is then. Let's go ahead and add another kiln that I would like to build over here, if possible. And we should check maybe 2 kilns, and let's go ahead and add another clay pit or 2. And we also want more sawyers. Jobs are fine at this point. We need more jobs because this population will not. We need 6,000 more people, and it's gonna really be a big problem to accommodate in the city itself. So go ham, make jobs. As long as money holds up, we should really be making jobs and ensuring that people have something to do. So let's go ahead and place another sawyer here and some more. We always can use more timber because it's used for practically everything. So that will be nice. Just make sure that it can still reach somewhere where timber can be accepted. And in this case, we might have to split this warehouse into 4 stone and 4 timber so that it does not in fact get clogged up. Just need to find timber. So let's go ahead and accept for that here. And we see that we now have some small houses, and they would like plaza. So would the patricians like plaza, I think. They're kind of already running out of that. This sentry post is not active. We'll have to wait until someone decides to work it. And let's go ahead and check out the entertainment. So plaza right here. It will cost a lot of stone and this, which is artwork. Artwork is produced by masons. So let's go ahead and put this down. It does act as a road currently. Yeah, you see the outside squares, they are roads in fact. It does benefit from symmetry, this thing. So you want to kind of build it in a way that would make sense. This is awful symmetry. Okay, can I build it somewhere where it would not suffer from such issues? Divine symmetry over here. Provides access to decent chunk of the city. You will want like 2 of these eventually anyway, so let's just go ahead and build this. I will not say that's better than this because the roads are way more cursed, but the game thinks it's divine, so let's just go ahead and accept it, don't question the game. Something I noticed is this alcove was strained, so I added another alcove here to cover this block better. And something I didn't talk about, the turkey hatches do require fertile land around it, or any land that's open, really, I think. Otherwise the turkeys cannot sustain themselves, so you can't build it in like middle of your city and expect them to do well. Also something else that's a little bit annoying is you see that these tiles are not getting serviced by this farm, even though logically it should go there. It is instead picking these 2 tiles to work, and that persists here and there as well. So some of these farms are a little bit wonky. A lot of them are working as intended, but some of these are definitely doing something a little bit wrong. And I don't think that is a way for me to really fix that, so I just have to accept it. We do have the plaza, now we also have the gardener here active, and an improved sweeper. You see desirability or ambience improves buildings. It gives them more service capacity when some of them evolve. And not every building can be evolved like that, I don't think, but some of it can be. Ambience is holding back this neighborhood, and I see an easy solution to that. Let's go ahead and add another gardener, and I would like more herbs. So we can also use some of our stone to build stone roads. It helps with ambience or desirability, so it is expensive, but it will greatly benefit these blocks, as the people living here no longer live in cottages but in houses. They might require better kind of roads. So let's go ahead and make sure we improve them. These are a little bit behind on evolution, but it would still help. So let's go ahead and get that done. Something else that we might require is, yeah, this is still strained. This new alcove should help. Over time, this will overtake the job of entertaining these houses. I think they would like some furniture. We do have money. Money is completely fine now. The thing that we might need is some furniture. And how do we make furniture? Well, it's not just furniture. It's not just timber. We need to also be able to procure obsidian, and obsidian is mined. It's a mining resource, but we don't have it in this map. so we'll have to import it. If you take a look, we could always trade with Tenochtitlan for like unlimited quota essentially of something if we really want to, and if it's limited somewhere else, but it's very possible that we will actually be able to find another city that's gonna sell us obsidian. So Malinalco would sell me jade and salt and feathers, which is more for like luxury goods, and salt is for armor and whatnot. They would buy cotton, which this is a considerably expensive trade route, but we could go with this if we ever needed to expand our industry for cotton. Let's go ahead and see. So yes, this Huekpotlan, I don't know if I said it right, but it's a city, and it will trade with us, and it would export us obsidian, 10 units per year, and it would buy cotton and timber and maize. I don't want to sell timber or maize, really. I could. Timber is relatively easy to make. It's just, it doesn't pay super well, and we are not in a huge need of money right now, but we could do it in the future. It is expensive, but we should definitely set this up. So let's go ahead and take a look. Furniture will require timber as well as obsidian, and we will need a new trading post. So let's go ahead and build a trading post, and we want to build it somewhere close by the trees so we can potentially expand it in the future, so it allows for exports of the timber easily. And we want this to not trade with anyone just yet, but we will accept some furniture, 8 units, we will accept some timber, and we will accept some obsidian. And we will be building workshops for furniture, which is furniture. And we will be building couple. I think we want something like 4 of these things. That should be plenty, I believe, for now at least. We could expand it in the future, of course. And let's go ahead and build a road. There's outcroppings here, so we don't want to delete these rocks. Let's go ahead and do this so that there is an easier access. And also the removing trees will give our city timber temporarily, as we know. Not that we need it, we do have enough. As for the stone itself, they also do hold on to pieces of stone in the building itself. You see that this quarry has a 5 in stock, and so we actually do still have a lot of stone. Even with all these roads we've built, we still do have access to more. And our money is looking really good. So after we are done with this project, I will jump into making the water, likely, but I would really like to do it when the city naturally asks for it, right? Because I in this video I try to follow what the city wants, and then we provide it. Going ahead and like doing something that's not immediately required or necessary, it's not necessarily great for you, because it's a big investment to make the water happen, the clean water. So we will do it only when the city asks for it, I think. Now I did decide to go ahead and open the trade route, and we will also be setting up this this porter yard to accept only 4 clay, and we will be getting some furniture in here for later use. And this new warehouse, or sorry, trading post, will also export some of the timber we are making in this area. Reason being is we really can't easily expand it, and I will go ahead and do it. We'll get some more timber, because we can easily get more, and it will benefit our city a lot. Since we expedited a lot of our money to open these trade routes, we should get something back in return. I've noticed that some of the nobles are complaining about ambience, which is desirability, so let's go ahead and provide them with some mosaics. This is essentially plaza from Season 3. It can be on top of roads. It provides good desirability, or ambience in this case, as it's called, and we cannot carpet it down. It needs to be spaced out, but it can still be really beneficial. Let's check what it wants. Some artwork and stone. We have both, so that should be fine. And in the future, if we decide to build temples, which will also be a task we will need to do soon, we should go and establish a goldsmith, I think, or yeah, goldsmith. So this makes golden artwork. How does that work is this will need access to your collector, and he will go ahead and collect gold to then be used to be melted, and then it can be used for construction of various things. So let's go ahead and build one over here behind the collector. And I also should check my collector coverage, intensive use, and we have this one which is heavy use. So our city could use more collectors just so we make sure we don't miss out on our taxes, but even more importantly, we don't lose out on that service. So let's go ahead and build another one here. It's gonna be good to cover most of this industry. And we also will want another one over here, and that's gonna also cover these blocks really well. Otherwise, we have divine symmetry. This is because of the plaza, I think. And it's really helping the city out a lot. Otherwise, we could have been building another plaza to help these houses, as they complain about desirability already. We could have built it somewhere in the middle to cover both blocks, but keep in mind this thing, how many people can this service? This can service 3,000 population, that's not that much, so eventually we will definitely need a second one anyway. And we do need population as we speak, money is fine, so let's go ahead and add another plaza. I just want to build it somewhere where it doesn't affect the symmetry in super negative fashion. Average symmetry is not bad. That is divine symmetry right here, and would still have space for the turkey hutches around it, so this is where I will build mine. Also, since we are on the topic of evolution, I noticed some of the houses complaining about nutrition. So that means they want a second food type, but fruit is unfortunately a little bit rare. I did not cover this extensively, but what we could do is go into our advisor, and that is like a production advisor, I think. Commerce advisor. This is balance. This is how much you produce of this per year, right? So we have a space for 113 fruit, and we have 19 fruit in the whole city stockpiled up, and balance is +5, so we are producing 5. And you can see how much it's spoiled. How much of it spoiled last year, how much of it did we gather, and how much of it was consumed, in what kind of houses, and things like that. So this can be applied for every sort of good that you care about. So you could, for example, even take a look at what our night soil is being used by and how it's produced. Same with maize. We actually got a little bit of spoilage last year, but nothing too crazy fallow. So some fields were left without cultivating it, clearly, but we do have a big amount of maize at the moment, so that is fine. What I want to do now is go ahead here and disable the meat, because we are not gonna be getting meat in here very likely. And let's check what we can grow. Looks like we could get chili, and so let's go ahead and accept some chilies, and we will be setting up a farm. Now, something to be said about this, as with everything else with farming, it's better to mix and match crops, as the game just likes you when you do that. So we might actually do that, but let's go ahead and add some maize and then some chilies in between. And this should hopefully provide us with something decent. And I'll be doing something a little bit different over here, where we just carpet down some trees instead. And we'll be going 4 tiles deep behind the farm, so that's all the way over here. Even if it merges in some places, that's fine. And give it some more chilies, and then we want canal connected under the road, as it will result in a bridge. And you see that when there's ambience or a structure adjacent, the canals also improve, and they look much more cleaner than the the dirt boundaries. So there's definitely some visual variety with that. We see that this sentry post is overburdened, but this one is right next to it, and it's light service use. So I'm actually thinking it's fine. If anything, yeah, I built another one here. So once this gets staffed, our problems with security here should not be a problem. Alcove has caught fire. Hopefully we will extinguish that quickly. And I have noticed that we finally got our imports of obsidian, and so now our furnishers can start producing furniture. We should check what these houses require. These have everything they want at the moment. These require sentry post. Okay, we might actually have to build another one, even though I didn't want to. Again, doesn't matter, you will need to have extra jobs anyway. Might as well put in another one in there. And I would like some more chilies, assuming we can even fit it without too many issues. Let's check where this granary goes. It does go over here. So I would actually say it would be viable to go ahead and build something over here. And with this one, I'm just gonna go pure chili. Without anything fancy. There is another alcove that's strained, so we'll be adding another to this general area, just so we prevent service clogging up, and also we want jobs, so that's all okay. We do have lots of money. Let's check what's our current population here. We are 3,150 pop, and we make decent money. Our prosperity is even there. We reached it, I think, because we now have modest estates. But unfortunately, we will need so much more population to beat this scenario. It will really take a long while to develop. And we will likely have to get a lot of artificial jobs. We could focus on exports and keep making things that do make us money, but for now, this would be a lot more workers. As for the nobles themselves, let's take a look at it. So these want furniture. These want House of Song or Ball Court. So that's specialized entertainment, or they will want House of Healing, Library, or Kalmikak. So that's education. If we build a library or Kalmikak, that's gonna actually require specific resource that's for learning, which is like sort of paper, I think, something similar to that. I might check how that's called here in the game, because I haven't played around with that for a while. Let's check. Who sells what? Tenochtitlan could sell us everything. Chile, timber, magway, obsidian salt. We are not supposed to be even needing this, because our prosperity is fine. We no longer need to evolve them even further, but I just want to. So I think we would have to import it from Tenochtitlan if we wish. So we certainly could do this. It is a capital though, so their prices are way worse than everything else, and we would need another trading post for it. But we could go ahead and do that. On the other hand, we could provide the other thing, which was House of Song or Ball Court. House of Song is like actress colony in Caesar, just expensive. So it helps plazas, and it specifically provides service for nobility. So let's go ahead and put this down. I would like this to go, if it goes here, that would be fine. Although it is going to limit a little bit how we get our water in here. So you'd have to then move this or remove some of the gardens possibly. So that is a concern. This thing doesn't need to be in like super center location. Just go ahead and put it over here instead. And since we have so much money, I think I will start to plan this water just to show you how we do it, because that is a little bit of thought that needs to go into it. But I suspect that if I was to make a video that's gonna go step by step like this until we are done with this scenario, it would take a lot of videos. I don't want to make so many videos. So you know, let's go ahead and plan this. So we want a cistern. Again, it's not like Reservoir in Caesar where from a distance it has a range. No, it's a structure, needs a road, and it provides plumbing by road and distance by road to other buildings. So build it close. You better build it close to sauna and or well dippers. These buildings mainly need it. Some other buildings might need it as well, the specialized ones. And you do want to build the first one nearby a spring. So we need to find a place which is called a spring. So this is a lake that's not sufficient. We are looking for rocks with water that's called, I think, water spring. And I have found it. It is called freshwater spring, and we see that it is right here. So when we build the cistern, you see that it's empty when we hover over to build it, and if we were to hover and build it next to this, it is gonna actually fill up. So let's go ahead and put this down over here. This is very far away. That means that our workers will actually go there. It's gonna take them a while to do this and they will not be happy about it, but it is their job and so they will do it. There is aqueducts and aqueduct walls, which passes through defenses. This is if you want this to go through your walls. Causeways, which is direct fresh water across swamps or bodies of shallow water, included canals. So this is actually what you would want for, like, this is like a bridge in Caesar. So it goes, you know, you can build it across a swamp like this. And we would probably need that because it looks like this lake is blocking a lot of our future places. Alternatively, what we could do is we could also just dry this swamp, because we do have that option. If we go here into farming, we could go Chinampa, which costs clay and timber, and we could go ahead and just make sure that something like 2x2, or sorry, 2 wide stretch of land is in fact using Chinampa, and that's gonna make sure that we can then use our water. Unfortunately, I did kind of miscalculate that because it's here. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure that we can also do that here. It doesn't matter when you cut water like this, by the way, I don't think. So this water, it is being fed by the spring, right? But if you cut it, I don't think that really messes up with the ecosystem or something like that. So now that we've set up the project, our masons are gonna start coming and they will go ahead and build this thing. They'll clear the area, they will build it, they will build this, and then we will only add the aqueducts. I also do want to add that last one before we add the aqueducts themselves, because they are the most resource intensive thing. The systems are okay, they are expensive, but it's one thing. The biggest issue is gonna be all the aqueducts, because they will be like every single tile is a monument, right? So that's why. Let's check. So we want our next system to go here, because this is where we have our developer, this is where we have our sauna. So we need to relocate our garrison, or sorry, fortress. This thing can be anywhere, really, it doesn't super matter. We do want to keep this open for the water though. Preferably in a way where we could bring it from the same area, but it doesn't matter. What we need with the fortress is it needs to be in a central location. So we need to really pick a good spot for it. I think I will build one here, and then we'll probably rebuild another one elsewhere, and we'll cut this to size, because then we will have to use this to bring water through here. And we should check for other freshwater springs up here in the north. I don't think there is anything like that in here. So we will have to bring the water in such a way it makes sense over here as well through the forest. And that is actually gonna be a bit of a challenge, but we could relatively easily do it the same way, where we set up a Chinampa to dry up swamps. So I want to do it in here. It needs to be 2 tiles wide, because one is for the causeway and the other one is gonna be for the aqueduct itself. You could also just, you know, have one and just have a causeway like the bridge we talked about, but it's super janky when there is like little bits of swampland. It's not just water. If it's swamps in the middle of it, I just like dry it up instead. But, you know, if you want to fiddle around with that, you could. And I've just noticed that some of these houses require ball court, so I decided to build a ball court here because it has relatively okay symmetry, and it will also cover the whole city, because elsewhere I tried to build it here but it didn't really like that for symmetry at all. So I decided to put it here, and these houses should evolve to large houses now, which are nice. Another fire in the kilns, hopefully people can take care of that. This is not good. A lot of fire. As for this Chinampa, it is still being built. It's like crops, it needs to grow. So just give it time, it's gonna happen. We've got more fires here, but that should be fine. We did lose a clay pit, so anytime you notice industry actually burning down, it is advised to rebuild it, especially if you did calculate. I didn't calculate this. I'm pretty certain I do overproduce clay and timber, in fact. But yeah, I want shops anyway. This sauna is overburdened, but I'm not gonna build another. Instead, what we will do, we will improve it through the cistern once we have access to clean water. Let's go ahead and place our first temple. This is going to be a temple to Zyptotek, who is a god of industry. It's going to help industry a lot, and since it's near the workshops for cloth and also cotton, and we also have our furnishers over here. And this thing, it's massive. The temples really are big, and it takes a while. A lot of people will work on this project. It's going to be worth it though. And we also care about... I put down dentist over here. So this dentist should help healthcare a little bit, because some of this is crowded, some of these patricians want extra healthcare. And we got a large estate for patricians or elites, and we also have large houses. So that's significant development level for this kind of scenario. Really, it would be all about the population grind, right, to get to 8,000. That's what the test really is. If you would want to scale up, you could even grow crops here. You don't need to grow them only here, but we could also build a rudimentary block around here, something like L-shaped. So one block around here, one block around here, maybe drop some swampland, get more farms around here, some more temples, shrines to prevent gods from being angry, services as needed, and you could just scale up and push this city to victory. For me personally, I feel like I have enough with this, so I will show you how to connect the water properly, and then we'll call this city done. So we did dry up our passage through the swamp, at least in this area, and that seems like it might actually be good enough for now. Let's go ahead and select our aqueduct. Let's see, it is right here. Don't be afraid to go ahead and tweak it, twist it, turn it, however it's needed. We will also be building a road across this. You see, it makes a bridge, sort of like when you do that with the canals, and that's because people need to get across a lot of the time, right? So let's go ahead and put this down, and then across this swamp, and make sure that you do add quite a few of these bridge points, because people sometimes do need to get across, usually masons or traders. And then we will put this thing into our city, and we can just do it like this. It's gonna be expensive, but I don't want to really hug it too close to the rest of the city. That's not really super necessary, so I'm just gonna do this, and we'll connect it to the back of this cistern. And let's go ahead and hug this barracks, and then we will go across like so, and right here. And that's gonna connect to this this cistern. We also need another one over here. Unfortunately, that's not as simple. I could do something about it. I, in fact, could relatively easily just make sure we build another nobles compound elsewhere. And this would actually solve this issue completely if I remove this. And we could use this sweeper and put the sweeper a little bit elsewhere. Don't be afraid to allocate things. Yes, these nobles did have to go homeless for a bit, but they'll get a new housing area soon enough. So don't worry too much about it. If it means you can simplify something you are doing, oftentimes it's the correct approach, is to just go ahead and, you know, roll with whatever will give you the best result. Unfortunately, the plaza seems to be blocking our water. So we'll rip up this, because we can't do that. We'll actually need to rebuild that, and then do this. So it's an oversight. I didn't actually ever see that happen, but that's a small little oversight that probably will be fixed at some point in the future if Perspective Games can be bothered to fix the mosaics not being aqueductable. So these things, every single one is monument, as I told you before, and they are gonna build this. We have lots of masons, so it really shouldn't be a massive undertaking. But for every city, this is a major thing. Anyway, so let's check our temple. You can also check progression on like what do you need right now. This venue is under construction. It needs more stone and artwork. So, you know, just since we are building a lot of other things, that's most likely the culprit. Is just we are doing a lot of other things at the same time. So just give it time. We are also melting some gold into golden artwork, and that is going to be useful for the temple, I think, for the final stage. Now, to speed everything up, I'm adding another mason's yard, and it looks like people are doing what we want them to do. It's just taking time. I've also built another alcove, another herbalist, because people have been complaining about this one, so this should hopefully help. Once again, you see that even 2 blocks of houses require so much capacity for services. It's not really like Caesar at all. We do have half the required population right now, but it would take a lot more still. Some of these aqueducts are still not done yet, so we'll have to wait. People will get around to doing it, but once again, it's a matter of being overstretched. So a lot of our people are working in various things. They are trying to build a temple, they are trying to do all these things. So, you know, it is going to be a little bit of a slow going at first. Hopefully with these new masons, this should help. I should also check our current stockpile of stone. It looks like we do still have enough of it. These are working full time though, which is good sign that we are using the stone and we are not sitting on it. And eventually we should see this project being completed. And as I mentioned earlier, we did suffer a devolution here because pottery is not sufficient, and so I'm adding a small porter stop over here to get more pottery, because this is clearly not being able to catch up quite fast enough. So we will have to go ahead and add that. And we have our temple, the Tlatoani build. It does take workers from the upper class, I think. So priest is 2, high priest is 2. So normal priests are probably the commoners, and then high priests are nobles. So that is okay. Now that's gonna boost our city. We also did build extra houses whenever I could. When we see something like this, we could easily fix it with a builder here if they like some sort of service. So we need more population. And I see these, like, this never actually got any pottery, and I've been running it for a while. There is 12 pottery here. I don't know why this is a problem, but it is a problem. They don't like this. I don't know what to do about that. Let's reduce this and accept some pottery in here. Just accept it. Why do we do that is I'm just gonna try to solve this issue here with the getting. Somehow they don't want to get from this, even though it is set to export. So we'll see if that solves the issue or not. So I have accepted even more pottery in here. There is some pottery in this porter yard. We do have this porter stop set to get pottery, and the employee is bringing goods. Now it's being tended to at the sauna. Now it's supervising the porter stop. Now it's maintaining a house. Now it's supervising the stop. But it's never actually doing anything. I'm not sure if this is some sort of bug. She was bringing some goods to a house a moment ago. So like we could follow this person in the city, right? And eventually there should be a time when she sees the resources she should bring to this porter stop. Because all these houses require pottery, and that's why we did this. Delivering pottery from porter stop to marketplace. Okay. So now finally we got some. I didn't even see her go there, but it happened. Maybe it was because some of the pottery got brought here. Yes, that's why. Okay, it's a little bit confusing, but at least now that works. So we have some pottery in here again. I guess she can only go. I guess, yeah, this is why. This is too far away from this, I guess. So it's not like unlimited like in Caesar. Depots could go, you know, or cars, warehouses would go whatever distance. Looks like she could only get it from this. That's the issue that was actually happening. So make sure that your logistics are not super stretched. So having in the middle of the city sort of would have been better, but due to how the clay was, I didn't want to build it in the middle. So this still works, it's just not impeccable or great. You could still do better than that. As for the new additions to the city, these are all fine. They say they have everything they want at the moment. And let's check our current aqueduct project. It looks like we've done a lot. There is still a little bit left that needs to be done, but it's overall, you know, a couple of tiles really. So we should see this water flow to the city soon, and it will change graphically when that happens. You will see the blue water rushing through the aqueduct. It's not going to be brown like it is right now with the timber. And hooray, we've got water in the city, so you'll see that now the fresh water is being brought all the way to the city and to both of these cisterns. And we should really see these services improve as they get access to plumbing. We could go ahead and check our overlays, I think. Is there an overlay for this? Service use, repairs, crowding. Yeah, there we go. Basin. So that's from well dipper is turned to a basin. He provides better services and he's got increased service capacity. And also steam bath instead of just a sauna, okay? And that's also improved and it has much higher capacity. It is suffering from heavy use currently, so that's something to keep in mind. But yes, so now our healthcare is going to be improved. Our homes have everything they want at the moment. We might even see luxurious homes for the commoners, the biggest we can get. I think it will happen. We do suffer from overcrowding. I think if we really wanted to go for this goal of population, it wouldn't even take that long. Just adding extra blocks and making sure there is enough supply will do that. We do have a lot of chilies in here. What we could do, since meat is kind of rare, we could go with 8 meat, accepting, and let's get something like 12 chilies. And that will help, because nobles also want different kind of food. These don't like the ambience quite as much. If you want to do desirability or ambience, you could go with Stella, you could go with gardens, depends what you want. Memorial is also beautification, so let's go ahead and add that. You can do many different things, depends what you really want to go for. Personally, I often go with gardens because they have a use, they gather herbs and you can use them for various things later, right? So that's a reason to go for that. And so when we build the memorial, that should help. We build the gardens, that will help. And so this is, if you follow this, you will be able to get a city sort of like this going. Don't forget to always expand your agriculture. It seems like you have enough like this, but you can never really have enough food. Like, it's one of the basic things. And also timber, don't forget, every house wants timber, so having enough of the basic resources is what you should focus on, and then only focus on the advanced things. Don't forget to check gods, the overlays for gods. I haven't been checking it too often, but it is definitely something that you should be doing, as some of the gods will feel neglected if our service capacity is not up to what he would require. So Zyptotek, due to that temple, is not happy, but the other gods also want a temple. So now you would have to build a temple to each god, so that's 5 extra temples. We could do it, we've built the water, so next major project would be temples, probably expand in such a way that we can support more and more population. And we did reach fancy houses, and these houses are, this is the highest plebeian housing, like Grand Insula and Caesar, you reach, right? So I think the city is relatively functional. We did plan relatively well. It could have still been better and less messy with the water, for example, but I think overall it's fine. If you ever need to increase this and bring the water further, you know, you can just take the Stapokale, relocate that, do things like that to snake your way through the city, as we did with the noble estate that was here before. So anyways, I hope this has been enjoyable or helpful to at least some people. It hasn't been super popular compared to Caesar videos on the channel, but at least it should give you sort of an overview of how to simply set up something that works. There are, of course, much more challenging scenarios, especially the ones with military. There is the whole can of worms which military is. I'm not going to go into it in this video, but I'm going to thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask it, and see you around. Bye.